In Jujutsu Kaisen, Japan's politics, religion, and society were all shaped by the time of the Heian Era, and by its powerful families. Even in Jujutsu Kaisen, these ancient clans are still a big part of the world. In the same way that the sorcerers do in the show, families like the Fujiwara, Zen'in, and Kamo fought hard for power and control. In this video, we'll show you how the traditions of these families live on in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. So let's get started. During the Heian period, between 794 and 1185, Japan's art and religion both grew. In this golden age, the most important things were beautiful poems, delicate paintings, and classy customs. The refined way that the nobles of the time lived created a world that still shapes Japan today. Surprisingly, this historical talent is shown in parts of the anime Jujutsu Kaisen. During this period, powerful families like the Fujiwara kept strict traditions on their power. They used careful rules to hold on to their power, and were proud of their past. In the anime, both Jujutsu clans, especially the Zen'in family, are very protective of their homes and customs. Both worlds care about honor and the need to keep power in the hands of a small group of people. Literature from the Heian time, like the tale of Genji, often wrote about deep topics like love, ambition, and betrayal. In the story of Jujutsu Kaisen, people fight morals and have to make hard choices. These stories remind us of those from that ancient period. Like Heian stories, the animation shows how complicated people are and how heavy duty is. The people also became more spiritual. Shintoism and Buddhism changed everyday life by blending into new traditions. The Tendai and Shingon Buddhist groups brought mystical ideas and ways of doing things. There's a mix of spiritual ideas in Jujutsu Kaisen, which can be seen in how domain expansions and cursed methods work. The Heian people mixed their religions to make sense of the world, similar to the way magic, nature, and energy were linked in Jujutsu Kaisen. People in the Heian period thought that the balance between beauty and strength was like the balance between power and ease in Jujutsu Kaisen. Religion and art shaped Heian society in the same way that the characters' problems are not just physical, they have deep roots in how they feel and what they believe. People remember the Heian Era as a golden age in both fiction and truth. It proves that stories about magic, custom, and the struggles of people are still based on real events. But very few strong families ran Japan during the Heian period. These families had a big effect on the country's religion, society, and government. A lot of things changed because of these groups, like the Fujiwara, Abe, Sugawara, and Kamo. There's a magical link between history and the story in Jujutsu Kaisen, because the made-up Jujutsu families are based on these real clans. The Fujiwara family was one of the most powerful in the Heian period. The Zen'in clan in Jujutsu Kaisen is based on them. By marrying into the royal line on purpose, the Fujiwara gained power and made sure that it would be passed down from generation to generation. Like the Fujiwara, the Zen'in family follows rules, laws, and traditions. The Zen'in clan sees itself as the most important family in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen because of its strength and purity. This is similar to how the Fujiwara were very strict about their family's bloodline. The Kamo clan in Jujutsu Kaisen is based on the real Kamo family, who were Shinto players during the Heian Era. Faith and magic were mixed together to keep people safe and connect them with God. Like the Kamo family did with their spiritual power, Noritoshi Kamo uses magic and evil tricks to show this family's past in Jujutsu Kaisen. The Gojo clan is known for having very smart and skilled people. During the Heian Era, religious and political power were shared by powerful families, who controlled both physical and spiritual power. The Gojo family in Jujutsu Kaisen shows this mix of mental mastery and force, especially Satoru Gojo. Gojo is pretty strong, like powerful people in history who are unmatched in their strength and ability to direct supernatural forces. The imaginary clans in Jujutsu Kaisen are deeply connected to real Japanese families. They show how duty and tradition affect the present. In the Heian Era and in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, families fight for power and control to keep their place on Earth. Jujutsu Kaisen creates a deeper and more interesting world by connecting the story to real events in Japanese history, creating an exciting story that combines history, magic, and action. Aside from the clans, there were ancient techniques that shaped Jujutsu Kaisen's world. In Japanese history, there were times when it was hard to tell the difference between magic and martial arts, because legendary leaders used spiritual methods to protect people or gain power. These real-life practitioners, like the onmyoji and fighter monks, give the sorcerers and techniques in Jujutsu Kaisen ideas. This creates a magical link to Japan's past. The legendary onmyoji Abe no Seimei is a well-known historical person. These masters of Onmyodo try to protect themselves from curses and supernatural dangers by using astrology, divination, and spiritual rituals. In Jujutsu Kaisen, Gojo Satoru's techniques, like his Limitless and Six Eyes, shows how skilled and accurate Seimei is. Control and balance are kept in check by two unseen forces that are always changing. This shows that you're very aware of spiritual energy. It was also interesting to see the fighting monks, or Sohei. With their religious zeal and martial arts skills, these monks guarded buildings and even fought. Magic and fighting can work together in Jujutsu Kaisen. Thanks to figures like Nanami and Yuta, it's clear that the Sohei are both spiritual and strong because they used cursed energy methods and fight so well together. As shown in the anime, Shinto priests and onmyoji's old protection practices gave Master Tengen ideas for how to make barriers. These rites from the Heian era were meant to keep Japan safe from spiritual threats, just like Tengen's walls protected the world of Jujutsu. Balance between the physical and spiritual worlds is shown by these walls. This is an important idea in both Japanese history and anime. The terrible king of curses in Jujutsu Kaisen is Ryomen Sukuna. Japan was formed by power struggles and the desire to be in charge during the Heian era, which is when it is thought to have started. He represents the idea of a fighter or witch who wants to be the best, and turns into something bad instead of good. This shows how crazy people were about power back then, and how it could cause both order and chaos. In an era where people were power-hungry, battles for power were very much anticipated. Japan went through big changes in power struggles. The Genpei War, 1180 to 1185, was a fight for power between two powerful families, the Taira and Minamoto. It changed how Japan was governed. Sorcerers who used Jujutsu fight for control of spell and power, just like samurai did during the Genpei War. This is similar to the fights in Jujutsu Kaisen. This shows that power struggles have always happened and still happen today in many different ways. The Fujiwara clan was another important Heian group. Their plans to take over the country were very smart, like marrying into royal families. They were very strong. To stay on top of the Jujutsu world, the Zen'in clan in Jujutsu Kaisen also does things that are sneaky and smart. These two clans show how important it is to be smart and plan ahead if you want to stay in charge. During the Heian period, people also believed that mental imbalances could lead to illness or tragedy. They believed that bad feelings could bring spells or evil forces. People feel bad feelings like anger, fear, and sadness when they curse in the game Jujutsu Kaisen. Curses and bad feelings are linked in this way, which shows how well Heian ideas fit into the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. Spells had to be broken in the past and on the show so that no one would get hurt. The Genpei War, the Fujiwara clan, and cursed spirits all show that the Heian era was full of power struggles, even though one is real and the other is made up. These ideas are still present in Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm sure some of the Jujutsu fans would be wondering why history matters in their Jujutsu world. Japan's society changed a lot during the Heian period, and Jujutsu Kaisen shows how this happened. Many ideas from that time, like those about power and spirits, have an effect on the world of Jujutsu sorcerers. One of the main characters in Jujutsu Kaisen is Sukuna, who's scary, strong, and hard to beat. He's like Heian era fans of power and life. In those days, people had strong thoughts. Sukuna represents these thoughts. He makes us think of the high-stakes battles and common magical ideas in the Heian world. Master Tengen is another important person who keeps the balance in the world of Jujutsu. This idea of juggling the physical and mental worlds also came from the Heian period. During this time, people believed in Buddhism and Shinto, two faiths that stressed peace between the worlds. Tengen's work on keeping balance shows how the people of Heian thought that different ideas needed to be brought together to keep peace and order. The Jujutsu clans in Jujutsu Kaisen are also shaped by the Heian period. In the past, most of Japan's politics and customs were run by powerful families. Jujutsu Kaisen also has traditions and heirlooms that are only found in Jujutsu sorcerer groups. As the wealthy families of the Heian period did by passing on their information and power, they do the same thing now. Putting so much stress on family ties goes back to that era, when families had a big impact on power and culture. So the ideas in Jujutsu Kaisen are still based on the Heian era, even though it happened a long time ago. In the world of Jujutsu sorcerers, you can still see how people back then thought about power, balance, and family norms. This is an example of how the past can change the stories we like today. So that's it for this video. If you liked it, you can watch this other cool video that's appearing on your screen. Click on it to see. Go ahead, click it.